Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 32 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
In Nationwide news at this hour, 3 JCF members have been found guilty in relation to the 2014 beating death of Mario Dean.
And Dean's mother says after waiting more than a decade, justice has finally been served.
I promised my son on his deathbed that I would see to it that him get justice. And today I am grateful that I really stand up to see the end of it.
Court hears testimony that Noel Maitland pressured his neighbor to delete camera footage captured at their New Kingston apartment on the day Donnelly Donaldson went missing.
School officials are the ones to report the majority of child abuse cases.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his government must continue to spread the word about its successes as it approaches the next general election.
In news from the rest of the world, Panama and Venezuela resume flights suspended for almost a year in diplomatic tension.
In a dramatic escalation, Donald Trump has ended Harvard's ability to enroll international students.
In headline sports, a former Portmore United striker has been called back to the national senior football team after 5 years.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the country's poverty rate is at its lowest in 34 years, and at least one expert expects the downward trend to continue. The Finance Minister Favour Williams will join us. Also in the cover story, guilty verdicts handed down in the Mario Dean case. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, and Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Mikel Jackson, will react.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what will you be doing for Labor Day? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, some medical staff at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital have decided that instead of taking the day off on Labor Day, they'll be helping several patients get long-delayed elective surgeries. Medical officers for the Department of Surgery, Dr. Lenworth Sterling and Dr. Kadeem Somerville, will join us.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, May 22, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by the Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC. Back for a limited time with the flavor that makes everything crunch. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The 3 JCF members charged in relation to the beating death of 31-year-old Mario Dean in 2014 have been found guilty. The verdict was handed down this afternoon in the Westmoreland Circuit Court. Corporal Elaine Stewart and District Constables Marlon Grant and Juliana Clevon were stone-faced as the verdict was handed down against them. Stewart was found guilty of an additional charge of perverting the course of justice. Deliberations among the 7-member jury began sometime after 1 this afternoon. Following a 2-hour wait, the verdict was delivered. The presiding judge, Justice Courtney Day, ordered the 3 JCF members to return to court for sentencing on July 3. As part of their bail conditions, they have been ordered to report at the Area 1 Police Division headquarters 2 days per week. Dean was arrested on August 3, 2014 for possession of a ganja spliff. He was viciously beaten while in custody. Dean died 3 days later at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James on August 6, 2014.
Meanwhile, Dean's mother, Mercia Fraser, says she's breathing a sigh of relief.
I can't even walk it through. It's just overwhelming. After 10 years and I've been there and I have to clench my fist not to really even cry. So it's a sigh of relief. I feel much lighter, but at the same time, after all this, all the pressure that you go through and everything, it's just overwhelming. And you know what I do? I thank God most that He told me that I could keep it out until this time. And I don't know how I would feel if I didn't really stick to the race and do it. It wasn't easy, and I tell you, even since I come here, sometimes I feel like I want to leave because it's just like it going. But today, I feel relief.
Ms. Fraser was one of several witnesses brought by the prosecution during the trial, which started on March 3 this year. She says after waiting for over 10 years, justice has finally been served.
I'm not even sure that I will get justice in Jamaica. But my God, it's not only Mario get justice today. I know many more people who has lost their son in this kind of condition really feel a little bit of relief. And I really truly thank God and all the support that I get. It's really good for all the support. JFJ, in the community, everybody show up. And there are times when I really feel weak. I really feel like I couldn't make it. But I promised my son on his deathbed that I would see to it that him get justice. And today I am grateful that I really stand up to see the end of it.
Mercia Fraser, mother of Mario Dean.
And human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, says the guilty verdicts brings a measure of accountability to the more than a decade-long saga. The organization had been one of the most strident voices calling for justice in the matter. Executive Director of JFJ, Michael Jackson, says the case had come to symbolize the failures of the justice and law enforcement systems.
We are quite happy that majority of the jury found the officers guilty, and what this particular case represents is the deep systemic failures within Jamaica's justice system, where you can have someone being killed or dying in police custody and it takes 11 years for a trial to be concluded, because unfortunately there are several other matters that JFJ is supporting family members. One of them, at least 25 years have passed since the family member was killed at the hands of the state, and to date there is no outcome.
Ms. Jackson highlighted some of the issues which plagued the matter.
When you look at the reasons for the delay in Mario's trial, you're talking about administrative issues, juror shortage, jury summons not being served. These are emblematic of systemic issues in the justice system that we all need to say to the state, these things must be fixed for people to realize justice.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice. Now, a former neighbor of Constable Noel Maitland has testified that he felt pressured to delete camera footage captured at their New Kingston apartment complex. The witness says Maitland contacted him twice on July 13, 2022, seeking information about the recordings, then later visited his apartment. That's the same day Maitland's girlfriend, or then-girlfriend, Donnelly Donaldson, was reported missing. The revelation was made on Thursday in the Supreme Court during Maitland's murder trial. The former neighbor who is testifying remotely is the sixth witness in the ongoing matter. Robian Williams reports.
The witness, a former neighbor of Constable Noel Maitland, said he had known Maitland for over a year. He told the court that on July 13, 2022, Maitland called him via WhatsApp around 5 p.m. and again around 7 p.m. asking about the camera system installed at his apartment. The witness recounted, he said he was up for a promotion and wanted to know whether the footage from the cameras was being stored. He explained that during the promotion process, background checks would be done and any problematic behavior caught on camera might affect his chances. The witness said Maitland gave examples such as walking with a spliff as behaviors that could raise concerns. He said Maitland asked him if he could have his word. The witness said he made it clear that he wasn't sure how long footage was retained and would check once he returned home. On the following day, July 14, 2022, the witness told the court that around 11 a.m., Maitland showed up at his door. He explained that 5 cameras were installed at his apartment months earlier. The cameras covered multiple angles including the front door, parking lot, a rear passageway, and the staircase leading to Maitland's apartment. The witness said when he eventually let Maitland in, he said a girl who had been at his apartment had gone missing. The witness added that Maitland asked if he could view footage from his apartment's surveillance system. The neighbor allowed him inside and attempted to access the recordings. While navigating the footage, the witness discovered that only 2 out of the 5 cameras were fully operational. The witness said Maitland specifically asked to review recordings from the afternoon of July 12, the same day Donnelly was last seen alive. The witness said Maitland asked him to delete the footage at least twice, but he denied the request. When asked why he declined, the witness explained, I didn't feel it was appropriate to delete footage from the video recording. Maitland allegedly told him, I don't want you to feel pressured to delete it. But the witness admitted under oath that he did feel pressured. He described Maitland's appearance as being very worried. Before leaving, Maitland was told a technician would be called to assist with accessing the full footage. Maitland said he would return when the technician arrived. Maitland is currently on trial for the murder of 24-year-old Donnelly Donaldson and for preventing the lawful burial of her body. Donaldson's body has not been found and she is presumed dead. The trial continues on Monday morning at 10. Roby-Ann Williams for Nationwide News.
Nationwide News understands that a policeman was shot and injured during an operation to apprehend a criminal suspect in Ebony Vale, Spanish Town in St. Catherine. The incident happened sometime Thursday afternoon. The policeman is in stable but serious condition. The suspect was reportedly shot and killed during the exchange of gunfire. The killing of the man, who is yet to be identified, brings the number of persons killed by the police since the start of the year to 134.
School officials are the ones who report the majority of child abuse cases. That's according to data from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA. The troubling data was presented during an online forum put on by the Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network on Thursday, which focused on children and violence. It also revealed that reports of child abuse plunged during the COVID lockdown in 2020 when schools were closed. More in this report from Shalois Michael.
Children feel safest at school. That's the data reflected in a report from the CPFSA, which reveals that most reports about child abuse are made by schools. Senior Registration Officer at the CPFSA, Monique Hutchinson, says those cases dropped in 2020 not because the abuse stopped, but because they were not reported.
Our reporting figures would trend down during school breaks. So during the summer months and December when school is out, we will receive less reports, and then December it goes down as well. And then in September and January when they go back to school, it will trend up. This we tend to attribute to the fact that a number of our reports come from school officials, guidance counselors, school nurses, principals, and the low figure in 2020 and in 2021, the persons were returning to their spaces. Now the reports would have increased again.
The CPFSA received only 9,883 child abuse reports in 2020, the lowest between 2017 and 2024. The figures jumped to 11,007 in 2021 when face-to-face classes resumed on a phased basis. Most of the reports originate from children living in Kingston, St. Andrew, St. James, St. Anne, and Clarendon. The parish trend remains the same so far this year. Ms. Hutchinson says reports range from neglect, children in need of care and protection, and sexual abuse.
Our most reported incidents are incidents of children posing behavioral challenges, children otherwise in need of care and protection. That just refers to children who are perhaps suicidal, persons who are subject to unfit parenting, persons who are living in undesirable circumstances, and then we have instances of neglect. So those are our top three, and then we have the physical, sexual, and emotional abuse.
Meanwhile, Director of School Safety and Security in the Ministry of Education, Richard Troop, is calling for a collective effort to stem child abuse.
It is going to take the village working together to address this issue. It is going to require strategic intervention at the school level, but also strategic interventions at home and community. We can be doing significant things in school, but if children are exposed to violence within their homes and communities, our intervention at school itself would have been piecemeal.
Child abuse reports can be made through the CPFSA's hotline at 211. You can also call Crime Stop at 311, the police at 119, or visit the nearest police station. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
Thursday, May 22nd, Mother's Bakery is taking over 14 Retirement Road with a pre-Labor Day Bakery Blitz. We're talking deals on our delicious Mother's Bakery Easter buns, backed by popular demand, banana bread, jelly-filled donuts, cheese bread, cinnamon danishes, jam out with a live DJ, and yes, there's a buy one, get one deal you won't want to miss. One day only, Thursday, May 22nd, starting at 10 a.m., 14 Retirement Road. Be there or miss the sweetest deal of the year. Mother's Bakery, love in every bite.
Continuing the news. Finance Minister Favour Williams says the latest reduction in interest rates by the Bank of Jamaica BOJ is a strong signal to commercial banks to follow suit. She was speaking at today's post-cabinet media briefing.
You would have heard the Bank of Jamaica many times talk about the transition mechanism of their monetary policy, that it is not working as well as they would like it to work. And the Bank of Jamaica has been at pains to speak with banks about this. I am considering that this very strong signal that the Bank of Jamaica has sent, because if you will recall, rates were at a low, way low, 0.25%. They moved all the way up to, I think, about 7%, and they have been coming down now. This is a very strong signal that the Bank of Jamaica is sending now with the reduction in the overnight rate to banks.
The BOJ lowered interest rates on Tuesday by 25 basis points. This will see the rate offered to commercial banks on deposits held at the central bank fall from 6% to 5.75%. During this quarterly monetary briefing, or rather his quarterly monetary briefing on Wednesday, the BOJ Governor Richard Bowles again went on record calling for banks to reciprocate by reducing their own rates. Minister Williams supports the governor's call. She hopes to see commercial banks do the same in the coming months.
I believe that the banks, we will begin to see it. That's my belief. No data just yet. But as rates continue to move down, we will begin to see the banks respond.
Favour Williams, Finance Minister.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says his government must continue to spread the word about its successes as it approaches the next general election. The Prime Minister was speaking at a post-cabinet media briefing at his Devon Road office on Thursday morning. Mahir Stewart has that story.
Jamaica recorded its lowest poverty rate of 8.2% in 2023. That's the lowest recorded figure since the country started keeping records in 1989. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the significant reduction in poverty validates the economic strategies of his administration. At Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing, Prime Minister Holness was asked whether the historic low poverty numbers will translate into support for his administration in the next general election. According to Prime Minister Holness, in theory, it should. But he notes that some Jamaicans have been conditioned to not believe in the government's achievements.
In any other jurisdiction, in any other country, it would follow logically that the voter would reward the government. In our country, there is always, as I've said, the need for the voter to reconcile their lived experience with the data that is provided. And we have to not take it for granted that the voter is making that reconciliation in their head. There is a very high level of cynicism, of disbelief. Even when the number is presented to the average person, the notion is don't trust what government tell you. Even when it is presented. And this is not just with the statistics for a reduction in poverty. Murders are down 40-odd%. But if you were to ask people, what do you think about crime? They will tell you, crime is high.
Prime Minister Holness says it's up to his administration to change this negative perception.
So there is a bias in outlook, and for many years, for decades, it's natural. If for decades the results that you have been given are negative results, that you can only be looking for crime to be rising, debt to be rising, growth to be falling off, all the negatives, then you develop a negative bias. You start to look at the glass as not half full, but half empty. Our job is to change perceptions, and perceptions don't change overnight. It takes a long time, and it takes repeating over and over. I've said it before, Jamaica is in a transformation. There is a cocoon in which we are, and once you're in that cocoon, you can't really see the movement from the caterpillar to the butterfly. It is when the butterfly emerges, you say, oh yes, we have transformed.
The Prime Minister says it's his government's job to constantly remind Jamaicans about its efforts to counter those who seek to misinform the public.
Ever so often, there are milestones reached in that journey of transformation. We reached one last week when we opened the Morant Bay Urban Center. And there are numerous other things that are ongoing. We are in this cocoon of transformation. So those persons who are wedded to the negative, who want to believe nothing is happening, our job is to say, hey friend, hey brethren, my brother, my sister, yo, look on all the things that we are going, man. Enough things are going. To counter those people whose job it is, and what they always try to do is to spew the negative. For me, I'm a positive thinker. I try to be positive always.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Panama and Venezuela are to resume commercial flights suspended for almost a year after the two countries broke off diplomatic relations. Venezuela pulled its diplomatic representation from Panama last July after the country's president refused to recognize Nicolas Maduro's re-election. Panama was one of the first Latin American countries to demand a full review of the presidential electoral results after the country's electoral authority declared Maduro the winner. The Panamanian president says it would be in Panama's interest to resume flights, but he also wants Venezuela to agree to receive migrants deported from Panama. Some commercial airlines had already begun advertising flights between Panama and Venezuela. Earlier this week, Venezuela banned the arrival of flights from Colombia after it arrested more than 30 people who were allegedly plotting to destabilize the country ahead of legislative elections on Sunday.
The Trump administration has moved to end Harvard's ability to enroll international students, escalating a row with America's oldest university. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says the administration has revoked Harvard's Student and Exchange Visitor Program certification. She says this comes as a result of their failure to adhere to the law. Noem says the move is a warning to all universities and academic institutions across the country. Harvard called the administration's actions unlawful in a statement. The Trump administration's decision could affect thousands of international students who study at the university. Nearly 7,000 international students were enrolled at the institution the last academic year. The White House has demanded Harvard make changes to hiring, admissions, and teaching practices to help fight anti-Semitism on campus. Harvard said it had taken many steps to address anti-Semitism and that demands were an effort to regulate the university's intellectual conditions.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, 3 JCF members have been found guilty in relation to the 2014 beating death of Mario Dean.
And Dean's mother says after waiting more than a decade, justice has been served.
Court told Noel Maitland pressured his neighbor to delete camera footage captured at their New Kingston apartment on the day Donald Lee Donaldson went missing.
School officials are the ones to report the majority of child abuse cases.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by the Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC. Back for a limited time with the flavor that makes everything crunch. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The 2024-25 Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League climax is tomorrow at the National Stadium with the Super Final and the third place playoff. Arnett Gardens and Montego Bay United will meet in the third place playoff at 4 o'clock. The winner gaining a spot in the Caribbean Shield competition from where they can qualify for the Caribbean Club Championship. Then at 7 p.m., the champions, Cavalier and Mount Pleasant Academy, will meet in the grand final for a third straight season. Though both are already in the Caribbean tournament, the winner of the national title will be seeded for the regional championship. Former Portmore United striker Javon East, the man they call John, has received his first Jamaica national senior football team call-up in nearly 5 years. The 30-year-old has been named in a 22-member squad for the Unity Cup football tournament in England next week. East, who now plies his trade for Hapoel Haifa in Israel, last played for the national team at the back end of Theodore Whitmore's last stint as national coach. Also named in the squad are two of the hottest players in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League, Dwayne Atkinson of Champions Cavalier and Warner Brown of Arnett Gardens. The rest of the squad, Shaquan Davis, Benjamin Williams, Tafari Chambers, Richard King, Mason Holgate, Dexter, Lembi Kisa, Greg Lay, Amare Bell, Kyle Ming, Stephen Young, Isaac Hayden, Casey Palmer, Brandon Cover, John Russell, Daniel Green, Ronaldo Cephas, Kaim Dixon, and Roman Burrell. One more player will be added before the squad departs on Saturday for the tournament, which starts on May 27. Jamaica will open their campaign against Trinidad and Tobago at Brentford's GTEC Stadium. Ghana and Nigeria are the other countries vying for the Afro-Caribbean Trophy. The West Indies will look to stay alive in their three-match T20 International Series against England. That's just a women's game. They meet in Game 2 at the Spitfire Ground in Canterbury on Friday at 12:35 p.m. Jamaica time. The Caribbean team crashed to an 8-wicket defeat in the first game on Wednesday at the same venue, a game where captain Hayley Matthews slammed an even 100. Matthews says she's happy to hit form right at the start and hopes it continues right throughout the series.
Pretty good start for myself personally, and glad I was able to get some runs. But yeah, just the beginning of the series, obviously. But yeah, I would love to carry some of this form into the remainder of it and yeah, not have this be my best knock. Yeah, it was quite nervy actually, going into that last over, but yeah, obviously just had to keep going hard and trying to get as many runs on the board as possible, and yeah, pretty thankful that Arlott didn't hit the stumps for that last ball there.
Hayley Matthews, the teams will meet in a three-match one-day international series that follows. And before the women take to the field, the men will be in action against Ireland in the second game of their one-day international series at Clontarf, starting at 4:45 a.m. Jamaica time. Like their female counterparts, the Windies men are trailing 1-0 in their three-match series after losing the opening game by 124 runs on the same day the women were beaten. The village is said to be a batting paradise, but with a bit of support for the pace bowlers. Captains are known to bat when they win the toss. The last one-day international at the ground produced 300-plus runs in the first innings. And that will do for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup, plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
This is an important announcement from the National Water Commission. Water supplied to customers in sections of St. Elizabeth and Manchester will be impacted by necessary well rehabilitation works at the Pepper No. 3 well in St. Elizabeth from Monday, May 26 to Friday, June 13, 2025. As a result of this work, operations at Pepper No. 3 will be suspended while operations at the Gutters pumping station will be reduced to 55% of capacity. During this time, customers may have no water or may experience low water pressure. The affected areas include Martin Hill, Prospect, Downs, Mandeville Town, Spurtree Heights, Knockpatrick, Newport, Lincoln, Gutters, Spurtree, sections of New Forest, Nain, Sea Air, Greenvale, Hatfield, Dunrobin, Balvenie, Kingsland, De Carteret Road, Cotton Tree, Georges Valley, Hillside, Richmond, Old England, Greyground, Newport, Ward Avenue, Heartease, Woodlawn Housing Scheme, Caledonia Road, Caledonia Meadows, Albion, Mayday, Brumalia, Marshall's Pen, Waltham, Perth, Cedar Gardens, Miketown, Huntley, and surrounding areas. Impacted customers may request trucked water by calling the NWC's toll-free line at 888-225-5692. The NWC regrets any inconvenience this may cause and craves the patience and understanding of its valued customers during this period of necessary works. That was an important announcement from the National Water Commission.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multi-link?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, hello to you. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, and this afternoon we're continuing the discussion on the poverty rate. Well, according to the data from the Planning Institute of Jamaica, that's the PIOJ, the country's poverty rate is at its lowest rate in 34 years. Its Director General, Dr. Wayne Henry, expects the downward trend to continue.
The country's poverty index was cut by more than half in 2023 when compared to 2021. The rate for 2023 was 8.2%. Now that's the lowest recorded figure since the country started keeping records way back in 1989. In the meantime, the Jamaican economy has begun recovering from the weather-related shocks suffered in 2024. GDP grew by 0.8% for the first quarter of 2025 compared to a similar period for 2024. The Finance Minister, Favour Williams, joins us now. Good afternoon, Minister.
Hi, good afternoon, Ricardo. Good afternoon, Sanjay, and to your listeners.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Yeah.
And thank you, as always, for joining us.
Thank
Minister, what do you attribute as the key drivers behind Jamaica's historic drop in the poverty rate to 8.2% in 2023?
Well, there are two things we can point to. The fact that there are more people who joined the labor force, there are more people working. The fact that the minimum wage was increased as well, quite significantly during those years. Those are two, I believe, of the major contributing factors to the decline in poverty.
Right. So it's a mixture then of policy shifts, so to speak, and economic programs. But given all of that now, Minister, how sustainable is this downward trend in your view, particularly as we face this global economic volatility?
Well, we expect it just based on the fact that the economy will continue to strengthen. Yes, there will be periods because we are still vulnerable to weather events that you will see a decline in our GDP. You may see the impact on businesses, but we are more resilient now than we have been in the past. We can look to a quicker recovery from weather-related events and other disasters, and in good time we'll make it back up. But if you look at the general trend, we would expect it to be down.
Mm-hmm. Minister Williams, you've heard this argument, this well-trotted argument that people on the ground aren't feeling it. How do these numbers now affect the government's ability to combat, if any at all, that argument?
Well, I know I'm gonna look at the inflation numbers when people say they're not feeling it. If you look at the national number, right, inflation is well contained, it's low nationally, right, national average. But if you were to drill down and look at specific items, like agricultural items, when we were going through the weather event, the inflation there was significant. For persons for whom agricultural items like yam, banana, and so on make up a bigger part of their basket, they are going to feel inflation differently. So when we are saying, inflation is low, they're saying, oh, but I'm not feeling it, I'm not experiencing it. Look, it's taking me more to buy the same things that I used to buy. And so that will cause the dissonance in people because they're feeling something different from what's happening at the national level, which is an average across the nation. So we have to... Sure.
No, go ahead.
Finish your point, Minister. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that we have to look at the data when it comes and understand the impact on different segments of the population and try to tailor our social intervention or social programs to help to alleviate the issues that persons may be dealing with that looks different to them than it is, at the national level or on average across the population.
Yeah, you in essence started answering the question that I was going to go to, Minister, because that is critical. Because as you indicated, different individuals will look at things differently, and how is it that you're going to tailor those programs to fit those individuals? But can you point, though, to specific government initiatives or fiscal policies, such as the path expansions or labor market reforms or the social safety net enhancements, that were most effective in reaching some of these individuals highlighted?
Well, I mentioned the increase in the minimum wage if you're working, whereas before you would have been earning $7,000. That went up to $9,000. $7,000 was in 2021. By April 1, 2022, that went up to $9,000, a 29% increase. So that's a policy, of government. That's a decision that was made by government, and that would impact those persons who have jobs. If you look at the programs that are targeted to persons that may not yet be working, the aim of it is to ensure that you at least have a certain level of living, a certain level of income coming to you so that you can survive and you're able to take care of your needs on a daily basis.
Minister, I want you... Sorry, Sanjay?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I want you to help me, Minister, with a little bit of myth busting, because I see a narrative bubbling on social media, and I just want you to put it to rest for me. So the first question is, does the finance minister dictate to the PIOJ how they should collect data and what the statistics that they put out should be?
Absolutely not. In fact, for this data that we're talking about, it's Statin that collects it, and the PIOJ does the analysis of it and put out the report. Absolutely not. These entities, Statin, PIOJ, the Bank of Jamaica, lots of other entities in government, they operate independently without interference from the political directorate. And you can do your surveys of them. Many of them have laws to protect that. And so I would just categorically say absolutely not.
Yeah.
In fact, when PIOJ is publishing the GDP numbers, we don't get to see it ahead of when they're publishing it. we don't get to see the unemployment numbers ahead of when they're being published. So that's to tell you that there is absolutely no interference of these entities whatsoever.
Yeah, and it was important for me to just clarify that, because there are some people who are hell-bent on spinning this narrative and pushing this narrative that this government somehow, this one specifically, has either changed how these agencies operate, or there's some amount of interference. So that's why I asked the question, Minister, just so everybody is clear on what actually is happening.
The data, they collect the data the same way. They are professional people. They know that their work needs to stand up to scrutiny of international entities or local entities who will look at their methodology. In fact, a lot of what we do in Jamaica, we mirror international standards, because we want our data here to be used globally and for it to be believable and on the same scale that countries developing and otherwise and developed countries use. So we would not at all deviate from that because it is important for there to be just believability in our numbers.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Minister.
All right. We're going to go for the break now. After the break, the DPP and Michael Jackson of JFJ will join us. Big news out of the Westmoreland Circuit Court. Those 3 JCF members being found guilty in relation to the beating death of Mario Dean.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 15 minutes to 6.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are go a Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay and Ochivios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in Kingston. It's also 30 out west in Montego Bay.
What makes a burrito bun so attractive?
We have a history of strong financial performance and growth, demonstrating resilience.
Our leverage remains low relative to our peers.
The bond is available in both Jamaican and US dollars, ranging from tenures between 2 to 10 years at attractive interest rates. Plus, it's expected to be listed, which will enhance liquidity for all investors.
Burrito bonds are burrito strong. Download our prospectus, call a burrito advisor, and invest today.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
The environment takes center stage this Labor Day, Friday, May 23, under the theme, The Environment, Our Land, Our Duty, Our Future. Play your part in preserving our environment. Put some voluntary labor into Labor Day in your community, anywhere across Jamaica. Jamaica Nice, protect with paradise.
This is an important announcement from the National Water Commission. Water supply to customers in sections of St. Elizabeth and Manchester will be impacted by necessary well rehabilitation works at the Pepper No. 3 well in St. Elizabeth from Monday, May 26 to Friday, June 13, 2025. As a result of this work, operations at Pepper No. 3 will be suspended while operations at the Gutters Pumping Station will be reduced to 55% of capacity. During this time, customers may have no water or may experience low water pressure. The affected areas include Martin Hill, Prospect, Downs, Mandeville Town, Spurtree Heights, Knockpatrick, Newport, Lincoln, Gutters, Spurtree, sections of New Forest, Nain, Sea Air, Greenvale, Hatfield, Dunrobin, Balvenie, Kingsland, DeCartwright Road, Cotton Tree, Georges Valley, Hillside, Richmond, Old England, Grey Ground, Newport, Ward Avenue, Heartsease, Woodlawn Housing Scheme, Caledonia Road, Caledonia Meadows, Albion, Mayday, Brumalia, Marshall's Pen, Waltham, Perth, Cedar Gardens, Miketown, Huntley, and surrounding areas. Impacted customers may request trucked water by calling the NWC's toll-free line at 888-225-5692. The NWC regrets any inconvenience this may cause and craves the patience and understanding of its valued customers during this period of necessary works. That was an important announcement from the National Water Commission.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. And we're jumping to this breaking story where 3 members of the JCF have been found guilty in connection with the 2014 death of 31-year-old Mario Dean, who was brutally beaten while in police custody after being arrested for possession of a ganja spliff. The verdict was delivered in the Westmoreland Circuit Court, and it found Corporal Elaine Stewart and District Constables Marlon Grant and Juliana Cleven guilty, with Stewart also convicted of perverting the course of justice. And sentencing is set for July 3, and all 3 are required to report to the Area 1 Police Division twice weekly as part of their bail conditions. So join us now to tell us more. We have the Director of Public Prosecution, Paula Llewellyn, and also Jamaicans for Justice Executive Director, Mikel Jackson. Good evening and welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. You all and your listeners. Good afternoon, Madam DPP.
Good afternoon. DPP, let me start with you. Your reaction. It took quite a bit of time for this matter to go to trial, and now it's ended in guilty verdicts. Your reaction?
Well, that is a simple way to look at it. It went through the system a little slowly. I must say, it started out, I believe, with a preliminary inquiry. Then there was a committal to the circuit court in St. James. Then we had jury issues. You had a defense counsel who passed. You had to get new defense counsel, one of the accused. Then you had COVID intervening, where everything came to a stop for 2.5 years. Then you still had jury issues, and thankfully, when it was transferred to Westmoreland, it was able to start. I had assigned 3 Crown Counsel, led by a senior deputy director, to do that circuit, and with the instructions that it has to start. They did their research, they did their preparation. It was quite involved. Technically, it was an involved matter. There's 3 charges that we indicted for: misconduct in public office, perverting the course of justice, and manslaughter by virtue of gross negligence in terms of a breach of duty, are not necessarily offenses that are charged and prosecuted that often. So they had to make sure they were right up there with their legal research, and to make sure that we had the evidentiary material to cover the ingredients, and then so explain it, meet all the legal challenges with our research, and so explain it to the judges of the facts, the jurors, that they were able to find in favor of the prosecution. And of course, we have a high threshold to meet, which is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So I wish to commend my team from the office, and commend Indicom, because Indicom stuck to their task in terms of gathering the material. And in several conversations with my team, I know they gave a lot of support in respect of, helping to put the matter together. Mm-hmm. And as I said, misconduct in public office, it's rare that it would be prosecuted at that level.
Let me hear Mikel Jackson. What does today's verdict represent for the Dean family and for the wider movement, such as JFJ, which is demanding police accountability in Jamaica?
I think today was a good day as a measure of accountability, as we indicated in our first statement. This morning, I had a very brief conversation with Ms. Fraser, and I can only commend her strength in really ensuring that the public remained with her and aware of the issues. And I think we also have to pay attention to the systemic issues that plague or continue to plague our justice system, because this was really a lengthy process. DPP spoke to some of the issues. I believe at one point there was a delay in getting a psychiatric evaluation. The low juror turnout was an issue as well. At one point we had a witness who passed, and we were wondering, what impact that would have on the case. And when we were even listening throughout the trial, we were there. I hope the connection between the duty of care and the gross negligence component would really be brought to the fore for the jury to render the verdict that we saw coming out of today. So this is an important day for accountability, but it also brings to light that we have several issues that we have to fix as a country when it comes to our justice system, because unfortunately there are still several other matters where justice delayed may very well be justice denied for those families because memories fade, people move away from the country, and so on. So I think we have to look within as a country and ask ourselves, are we okay with an incident occurring in 2014, and it's just at the end or mid-2025 that you're seeing the finality of, which is not even final because we do have the sentencing, but at least a verdict being rendered. I think we have to ask ourselves, what exactly do we want and how we fix some of the issues that we saw emerging from 2014 to today.
And DPP, I don't have much time left, but I do want to ask you, because Mikel raises a valid point, that for the average Jamaican looking on, the delay really seems egregious. And I wondered, as it relates to the administration of justice as a key agent in that process, if your office has learned any lessons that it can apply going forward.
Well, first of all, you see, as somebody who has been around much longer than Ms. Jackson, I'm aware that context is always very important. One has to look at what actually occurred. There was an investigation. There was a preliminary inquiry. It had to go through the parish court. Then there was a committal to the circuit court. And then you have a situation where the system, certainly the circuit court level, we have tripled the volume of cases going through the circuit courts. I am in Manchester Circuit Court today, and we have nothing less than at least 250 cases after I signed 3 Crown Council to deal with the volume. I think the Chief Justice has said it. We have reached a stage where perhaps several of these circuits will have to be continuing perhaps all year round. So that has to be looked at. We then had a situation where one of the key lawyers in the matter for one of the accused, he died. So the accused cannot be tried without his attorney. So we had to go back to the drawing board. That is the system to make sure that he was able to retain another attorney. That took some time. Then you had the jury issue. I suspect that the jury list had not been properly settled. So we have been having a perpetual problem. Now, that is systemic, and I think it is within the domain of the Supreme Court to fix that by making sure that the jury lists are properly settled by the JPs, the custodies, and the parish court senior judges. So that was unfortunate. But we had COVID intervening as well, and that took out another 2.5 years. Nothing was being tried with any jury. And the defense attorneys were adamant, although we asked them to consider trying the matter as a judge alone, they said that they wanted the jury. So that was another 2.5 years. So thankfully, the matter went to the Westmoreland, was transferred, and we were able to get the matter started. And Ms. Jackson, the law allows us, once we are able to establish the criteria, even if a witness is dead or a witness cannot be found, once we have our legal research, we have our authority, once we lay the foundation, we can still put in a statement. Right? So we were able to do that with a couple of the witnesses. So I say once again, yes, it may be that it went through slowly, but I always like to put context so that people can understand. And then we take it from there in a positive way to make sure we try to minimize, along with the other stakeholders, because one hand cannot clap. The DPP's office alone cannot by itself try the case. Defense counsel alone cannot by itself try the case. The judge alone can't try the case. The police or income alone can't try the case. All the stakeholders have to be going in the same direction. So can we do better? Yes, we can always do better. It's a constant work in progress. But I still am proud of the fact that the rule of law prevailed.
Yeah, we're out of time. Can I thank you, DPP, for your time? Mikel Jackson, thanks to you and the JFJ for your tireless advocacy in this matter. I know you stood shoulder to shoulder with Ms. Fraser for quite some time now. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome back.
All the best.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Save fast and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The 3 JCF members charged in connection with the beating death of 31-year-old Mario Dean in 2014 have been found guilty. The verdict was handed down Thursday afternoon in the Westmoreland Circuit Court. Corporal Elaine Stewart and District Constables Marlon Grant and Juliana Clevon were stone-faced as the verdict was handed down against them. Stewart was found guilty of an additional charge of perverting the course of justice. Presiding Judge Justice Courtney Day has extended the bail of the defendants until their sentencing. They are to be sentenced on July 1. Meanwhile, Dean's mother, Mercia Fraser, says she's breathing a sigh of relief.
I can't even walk it through. It's just overwhelming. After 10 years and I've been there and I have to clench my fist not to really even cry. So it's a sigh of relief. I feel much lighter, but at the same time, after all this, all the pressure that you go through and everything, it's just overwhelming. And you know what I do? I thank God most that He told me that I could keep it out until this time. And I don't know how I would feel if I didn't really stick to the race and do it. It wasn't easy, and I tell you, even since I come here, sometimes I feel like I want to leave because it's just like it going. But today, I feel relief.
Miss Fraser was one of several witnesses brought by the prosecution during the trial, which started on March 3 this year. She says after waiting over 10 years, justice has finally been served.
I'm not even sure that I will get justice in Jamaica. But my God, it's not only Mario get justice today. I know many more people who has lost their son in this kind of condition really feel a little bit of relief. And I really truly thank God and all the support that I get. It's really good for all the support. JFJ, in the community, everybody show up. And there are times when I really feel weak. I really feel like I couldn't make it. But I promised my son on his deathbed that I would see to it that him get justice. And today I am grateful that I really stand up to see the end of it.
Mercia Fraser, mother of Mario Dean. And human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice JFJ says the guilty verdicts bring a measure of accountability to the more than decade-long saga. The organization had been one of the most strident voices calling for justice in the matter. Executive Director of JFJ, Mikel Jackson, says the case has come to symbolize the failures of the justice and law enforcement systems.
We are quite happy that majority of the jury found the officers guilty. And what this particular case represents is the deep systemic failures within Jamaica's justice system, where you can have someone being killed or dying in police custody and it takes 11 years for a trial to be concluded, because unfortunately there are several other matters that JFJ is supporting family members. One of them, at least 25 years have passed since the family member was killed at the hands of the state, and to date there is no outcome.
Mikel Jackson, Executive Director of JFJ. School officials are the ones who reported the majority of child abuse cases. That's according to data from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA. Senior Registration Officer at the CPFSA, Monique Hutchinson, says those cases dropped in 2020 not because the abuse stopped rather, but because they were not reported.
Our reporting figures would trend down during school breaks. So during the summer months and December when school is out, we will receive less reports, and then December it goes down as well. And then in September and January when they go back to school, it will trend up. This we tend to attribute to the fact that a number of our reports come from school officials, guidance counselors, school nurses, principals, and the low figure in 2020 and in 2021, the persons were returning to their spaces. Now the reports would have increased again.
The CPFSA received only 9,883 child abuse reports in 2020, the lowest between 2017 and 2024. The figures jumped to 11,007 in 2021 when face-to-face classes resumed on a phased basis. Ms. Hutchinson says reports range from neglect, children in need of care and protection, and sexual abuse.
Our most reported incidents are incidents of children posing behavioral challenges, children otherwise in need of care and protection. That just refers to children who are perhaps suicidal, persons who are subject to unfit parenting, persons who are living in undesirable circumstances, and then we have instances of neglect. So those are our top three, and then we have the physical, sexual, and emotional abuse.
Monique Hutchinson, Senior Registration Officer at the CPFSA. Government Senator Marlon Morgan is blasting opposition spokesperson on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, for what he says are his habitual false and untrustworthy utterances. Senator Morgan says Dr. Dawes' ongoing claims about the procurement of $31 million neurological drill for the Bustamante Hospital for Children are false.
Despite clear facts and evidence to the contrary, Dr. Alfred Dawes continued to stand by and double down on his falsehood by suggesting that the health authority purchased a drill that essentially came in at a cost of 250,000 Jamaican dollars when he was in fact using information pertaining to a completely different piece of equipment which has a completely different model number from the medical drill that was in fact acquired and delivered to the Bustamante Hospital for Children via the Southeast Regional Health Authority.
According to Senator Morgan, the PNP's clear strategy of spreading false allegations in the public domain and refusing to act honorably when the allegations are proven to be inaccurate, untruthful, and malicious. He says it's shameful, and a new low in politics in Jamaica.
It is very disturbing and quite concerning that the opposition PNP is now resorting to what is a clear strategy of entering and then doubling down on patently false information which they enter into the public domain in a bid to score cheap political points, irrespective of how baseless, spurious, reckless and irresponsible their erroneous and misleading claims are. It cannot continue, it is untenable, and it brings Jamaica's democratic system into disrepute.
Government Senator Marlon Morgan. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
The smoky barbecue sauce.
Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's Crispy Barbecue Zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The Crispy Barbecue Zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The 2024-25 Wren Nephew Jamaica Premier League climaxes tomorrow at the National Stadium with the Super Final and the third place playoff. Arnett Gardens and Montego Bay United will meet in the third place at 4 p.m. The winner will gain a spot in the Caribbean Shield competition and a chance to get into the Caribbean Club Championship. At 7 o'clock, Cavalier, the champions, will meet Mount Pleasant Academy in the grand final for a third straight time. Both are through to the Caribbean tournament, but the winner of the national title will be seeded for the regional championship. Former Portmore United striker Javon East has received his first Jamaica national senior team call-up in nearly 5 years. The 30-year-old has been named in a 21-member squad for the Unity Cup football tournament in England next week. East, who now plies his trade for Hopewell Haifa in Israel, last played for the national team at the back end of Theodore Whitmore's last stint as national coach. Also named in the squad are two of the hottest players in the Wren Nephew Jamaica Premier League, Dwayne Atkinson of Champions Cavalier and Warner Brown of Arnett Gardens. The rest of the squad, Shaquan Davis, Benjamin Williams, Tafari Chambers, Richard King, Mason Holgate, Dexter Lambisika, Greg Lay, Amari Bell, Kyle Ming, Stephen Young, Isaac Hayden, Casey Palmer, Brandon Covert, John Russell, Daniel Green, Ronaldo Cephas, Kaim Dixon, and Romain Burrell. One more player will be added before the squad departs on Saturday for the tournament, which starts on May 27. Jamaica will open their campaign against Trinidad and Tobago at the GTEC Stadium, home of Premier League's Brentford City. Ghana and Nigeria are the other two countries vying for the Afro-Caribbean Trophy.
This is Nationwide's Champions League Facts.
Did you know that the UEFA Champions League has its own anthem? Yes, that's a fact. Before each game of the tournament, Champions League, an anthem written by English composer Tony Britton in 1992, is played to celebrate and honor the fact that football is bringing together so many different people.
That was Nationwide's Champions League Fact.
Brought to you by AnyBet, your best bet, and ATL Automotive, keeping Jamaica moving.
The West Indies will look to stay alive in their three-match T20 International Series against England when the two women's team meet in Game 2 at the Spitfire Ground in Canterbury on Friday at 12:35 Jamaica time. The Caribbean team crashed to an 8-wicket defeat in the first game on Wednesday at the same venue, in a game where the captain Hayley Matthews slammed an even 100. Matthews says she is happy to hit form right at the start and hopes it continues throughout the series.
Pretty good start for myself personally, and glad I was able to get some runs. But yeah, just the beginning of the series, obviously. But yeah, I would love to carry some of this form into the remainder of it and yeah, not have this be my best knock. Yeah, it was quite nervy actually, going into that last over, but yeah, obviously just had to keep going hard and trying to get as many runs on the board as possible, and yeah, pretty thankful that Arlott didn't hit the stumps for that last ball there.
Hayley Matthews, the teams will also meet in a 3-match one-day international series that follows. And before the women take to the field, the men will be in action against Ireland in the second game of their one-day international series at Clontarf, and the game is set to start at 4:45 a.m. Jamaica time. Like their female counterparts, the West Indies men are trailing 1-0 in their 3-match series after losing the opening game by 124 runs on the day the women were beaten. The Village is set to be a batting paradise, but with a bit of support for the Pacers. Captains are known to bat when they win the toss. The last one-day international at the ground produced 300-plus runs in the first innings. Pace bowler Jofra Archer has been ruled out of England's team for the one-day internationals against West Indies next week and could be in doubt for a proposed return to red ball action next month after sustaining a right thumb injury during his IPL stint with the Rajasthan Royals. Archer first sustained the injury while fielding during Rajasthan's one-run defeat against the Kolkata Knight Riders at Eden Gardens on May 4. Although it initially appeared to be a minor issue, further assessments revealed ligament damage, and following the suspension of the tournament earlier this earlier this month, the Harper did not go back to England as was planned. He was named, though, in England's 16-man squad for the ODI series that begins at Edgbaston on May 29, but will now be reassessed by the England medical team over the coming fortnight to determine when he may return to action. Lancashire's left-arm seamer Luke Wood, who had already been named instead of Archer for the T20 International Series that follows in June, has been added to the squad in his place. Wood has played two previous ODIs in 2022-23, but has yet to take a wicket in the format. Since 2021, Archer has been battling with a series of long-term injuries, including an elbow problem that required multiple operations and a stress fracture of the back. He made his England comeback in May last year in time for the T20 World Cup in the Caribbean, and also featured in the Champions Trophy earlier this year prior to going to the Indian Premier League. Lady Panthers will take on the Lady Celtics in the Women's National Basketball League at the Stadium courts this evening. In the Men's Double League, Mobay Warriors will take on Upper Room Eagles. And finally, in sports at this time, the Indiana Pacers stole home court from the New York Knicks in their NBA Eastern Conference Finals after winning Game 1, 138-135 in overtime at Madison Square Garden on Wednesday night. This was a game and a quarter. 3-pointers for days, Tyrese Halliburton got 31 points in the end, and Aaron Nesmith 30. They were the leading scorers for Indiana. Jalen Brunson had a monster game for New York. He bagged 43 points and pulled down 5 boards, while Karl Anthony Towns made 35. Game 2 is on Friday, also in New York. And that will do it for sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:16.
KFC is back with the crispy barbecue zinger. So delicious, this one is a winner. Spicy with bacon, onions, cheddar, and the smoky barbecue sauce.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC is back. A delicious spicy zinger with bacon, cheddar cheese, crispy onions, and smoky barbecue sauce. Available for a limited time. The craving that makes everything crunch. KFC's crispy barbecue zinger. It's finger-licking good.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC with the smoky barbecue sauce.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense paid trip for 2, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup, plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. when Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League. Live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. Tomorrow is Labor Day. And we know that Labor Day is the observation of national volunteerism. So we're going out there and we're going to get some stuff done. Or you can stay home and get some stuff done, you know. It's a collective act of service. Yeah. And the national holiday, we officially recognize it on May 23. We've been recognizing the national holiday, which is Labor Day, of course, since 1960. Yeah. Some history there for you. So we ask you in our public opinion question this evening, what will you be doing for Labor Day? What will you be doing for Labor Day? I'll start with the comments on our Facebook platform, where Faith Mercy, is saying, resting from my labors. Okay. So you're turning it around. Instead of laboring, Faith will be resting from her labors. Natalie Winter is saying labor with love this Labor Day. Yeah. Bad English saying I will be going to the beach with my family and friends. It seems as though, you know laboring will be happening. Philip Jackson saying labor for labor to keep giving us a new Jamaica under Dr. Andrew Holness. All right. Edney Powell is saying not a thing. Edney Powell now do nothing tomorrow. Shins for Life Law is saying campaign for labor. All right. Audrey Allen, having labored from Monday to Thursday, I'm going to get some well-needed rest so that I'll be able to start the labor all over again come next week. Wow. Wow. Nicola is saying visiting some people who are in need. That's amazing, Nicola. We do support that. For sure, we do support that on our Instagram platform. Let me see if I can get to the comments there. What will you be doing for Labor Day? Will you be laboring or will you be resting? So far, the people them say them go rest because them labor Monday to Friday and they want a little rest. Lee, or should I say Leah, is saying staying home and watching Netflix. Wow, resting after working so hard all year round, says Boss Lady. Yeah. But I do look forward to see the Labor Day projects on the timeline. Apparently, I'll be painting. I'll be painting my gate. Nora, what will you be doing on Labor Day? Let me see if I can get some comments on our TikTok. Diana Leslie, clean up my yard, then Netflix and chill. Vivine Swaby, did my gardening today and I will rest tomorrow. All right. Nora says she'll be laboring at home. All right. I believe you, Nora. Steve Uptop Boss will be cutting his yard. Yeah. You get the little break. Cut the ad, of course. Let me see if I can go to the responses now on our YouTube platform. What will you be doing? Labor Day. Labor Day tomorrow. We're celebrating Labor Day. Let me see what the people on our YouTube will be doing. Not seeing some of the comments so far, let me see. So people don't really mean to tell me when I'm not doing nothing tomorrow. Let me see if I can get to some more of the comments on our TikTok. Anybody over there? Iconic saying, I'm a day trader and the stock market will be closed on Monday. I will just chill out. All right, let me see if I can get some more. Laboring at home and then sleep, says Nora. You can go to the Labor Day concert, right? I believe it's at Emancipation Park. Let me see. Clean up the house and cutting the grass, says Ruel. That's what he'll be doing. Ruel will be cleaning up the house and cutting the grass. And yes, it is at 7. The concert is at 7. The Labor Day concert is at 7 at Emancipation Park. So feel free, News commentator, I see you, what you're saying. Angela is saying she's going to look mango in the country. News commentator saying I'll be laboring in my house. So too, Josephine saying I'll be working on my house tomorrow. Orinthia Campbell saying she'll be home as usual. Yeah? I don't know. Some people just want to stay home, do some work in their home, around the house. Nothing is wrong with that. IMAX saying essential service, so it work. Well, I for one will be getting the day tomorrow, and I really and truly do appreciate whenever it is that we, the people, we get days, a little day from work. Captain J says all day sleep fest. Wow. Yeah. Colin White, I did my Labor Day project today. That's good. So you'll get some rest, Colin. Dennis Barnaby saying Labor Day should be a national endeavor. For Georgelyn will be working on her crochet craft. That's nice. Let me see. Sharon Forbes saying sleep all day. I'm so tired. Not even a pin I'm not lifting in my house. Every day is labor for me. Wow. Linda Ming says that's what the holiday was created for. To rest from our labor. Yeah, and that's what happens in the rest of the world. Well, we the people, some of us, we tend to labor for the Labor Day, even though it was created for rest, as Linda Ming is saying here. Let me see if I can get in some more. Philip Jackson says some people will be adding to the population all day. Wow, Philip Jackson, I don't know what reference can be drawn from there. Dwayne Woody is saying Labor Day, I'll be here listening to you guys in the US. For me doing some hard work on the job. Yeah, I will be doing some painting. Jabi says I'll be driving my semi. Okay, you'll be driving from Ohio to Florida. Okay. Jamaica and America celebrate the same day. No, I do not think so. Iconic. I do not believe so, none at all. So yeah, we've been celebrating Labor Day since 1960. Yeah? Officially recognized since 1960. And we celebrate it on May 23. Dwayne Woody is saying, oh, I read that one already. Gravish, I loved Labor Day when I was a child. The community actually came together and worked on a project. Gradually, people stopped doing that. And that's true. That is so true. I must point out that traveling on the road, I've seen some projects, some painting being done in some communities. I've seen crossings. I know that the pedestrian crossings, I've seen those people painting pedestrian crossings over. The lines fade out after a certain time. So I've seen very few, but it's being done. Some work being done nonetheless. Let me see. Monday is Memorial Day. Yes, Father Perry. Isa Mario, it's Memorial Weekend for USA. Isa Mario says, and Father Perry says Monday is Memorial Day for America. True, Coffee in Tow did tell us that Monday is Memorial Day over on TikTok. Yeah? Let me see if I can get in some more. Sharon is saying labor in bed with, wow, okay. Sharon, we can't, yeah, we understand. We understand. Yeah, but let's see what will happen tomorrow. Wendell Bonnick is saying, I will not be working on Labor Day. We both, and we welcome that. But yeah, it seems as though a lot of people not necessarily gonna do any work, but we implore you to do something nonetheless, you know, around the house, if only. And also go out to the Emancipation Park, where there will be a concert. I think I'm gonna go this time around. I've never been. I think I'm gonna go. Guys, thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion. That's all the time we have. Happy Labor Day when it comes. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. 1-cent coins will stop being produced in the U.S. next year, the Treasury Department has confirmed. It marks the phasing out of the coins commonly known as pennies, which have been in circulation for more than 2 centuries. President Donald Trump told Treasury Secretary in February to stop minting the coins, calling them wasteful. There has been a long debate over the cost and usefulness of pennies in the U.S. And House Republicans have passed a sweeping multi-trillion-dollar tax break package, a narrow victory for President Donald Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson after weeks of negotiations with conservative holdouts. Trump's big, beautiful bill passed with a vote of 215 votes to 214, with 2 Republicans joining Democrats to oppose it and 1 voting present. It now heads to the Senate, which will have the chance to approve or change provisions of the bill. The U.S. president's allies on Capitol Hill have celebrated its passage as a victory. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 159 Jamaican dollars and 47 cents to buy $1 US, 211 Jamaican dollars and 21 cents to buy 1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 28 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. Good evening.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:31.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
The environment takes center stage this Labor Day, Friday, May 23, under the theme, The Environment, Our Land, Our Duty, Our Future. Play your part in preserving our environment. Put some voluntary labor into Labor Day in your community, anywhere across Jamaica. Jamaica Nice. Protect with Paradise.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum, Thursday, May 29th, 2025, at the Jamaica Conference Center. The Investment Forum is one of the many events during National Minerals Week 2025. The Investment Forum, with keynote speaker Honorable Floyd Green, focuses on investment incentives and sustainability. We will broadcast live from the event, giving listeners island-wide front row access to Jamaica's mineral future. Don't miss us as we unearth the possibilities. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Thursday, May 29th. It's the Ministry of Agriculture's Investment Forum at the Jamaica Conference Center. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live too. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie, give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
What's the standing of the JLP and the PNP in Southeast St. Elizabeth? Southwest St. Elizabeth? Western St. Mary? And where do the parties stand nationally? What's the gap, if any, between Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding? Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM from 6 a.m. on Monday, May 26 for the findings from the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis.
And we're turning our attention to some Labor Day surgeries that are being offered. The medical staff at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital have decided that instead of taking the day off on Labor Day, they'll be helping several patients get long-delayed elective surgeries. The senior team members are hoping to do several surgeries as their way of putting work into Labor Day. Now, this is not the first time the team of surgeons and support staff will be volunteering, donning scrubs and personal protective equipment and heading to the theatre on Labor Day.
The team is also calling on residents of St. Anne and neighboring parishes to... Oh, I think I'm on the...
Right, so...
Ricardo, can you just...
No problem. So they'll be having biopsies, colposcopies, and carpal tunnel release surgeries. The team is also calling on residents of St. Anne and neighboring parishes to give blood for the continued work of the hospital. Joining us now, Medical Officer for the Department of Surgery, St. Anne's Bay Hospital, Dr. Lenworth Sterling, and Medical Officer of the Department of Surgery at the hospital, Dr. Kadeem Somerville. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
All right. Dr. Sterling, let me start with you. What inspired this? What inspired this undertaking?
Okay, that's an excellent question. So this has been something that's been in the works for several years now. We've been doing it continuously since 2018, actually. And it was started based on the fact that there has been a dire need, especially in St. Anne, for blood. Because our main focus tomorrow is the blood donations, right? As you know, we are on the North Coast Highway, where there's a lot of accidents that happen, and myself and Dr. Somerville can tell you this is almost every night where we have trauma patients who require blood transfusion. And we've been suffering from a nationwide shortage in blood. So this is just our little way every year to try and fill the gaps as much as possible, and it has been successful to the point where we have been getting more and more donors every single year, and we are really looking to get even more this year. So far, we've gone as far as 50 donors, and the day hasn't even come around as yet. So we're definitely pushing for about 150 donors this year. In terms of the biopsies, cancer has been plaguing St. Anne specifically for a very long time now. We've been seeing a rise in numbers, especially in younger patients. So this is our way to try and catch these cancers at an earlier stage, so that we can administer the best care to these patients, so that we can prevent it from getting to a later stage cancer. So
yes.
We have pre-selected individuals who we think may have to be showing signs of cancer, so that we can biopsy them to test them as soon as possible.
And walk us through just generally the types of procedures you'll perform on, for this year. I know you mentioned one, but just give us the rest.
Okay, no problem. So we'll be doing breast biopsies, and those are biopsies you do to try and identify breast cancer at an early stage. We'll also be doing colposcopies, so that has to do with the cervix, because as you know, cervical cancer is very common in females in Jamaica. We'll also be doing pipelle biopsies that focuses on the uterus or the womb as we know it, and also prostate biopsies. Prostate cancer is actually one of the most common cancers in Jamaica when it comes on to men. So those are the biopsies that we'll be conducting. We'll also be doing carpal tunnel surgeries. So these are for individuals who have carpal tunnel syndrome. And this is a syndrome where patients complain of severe pain in the wrist So the orthopedic surgeons will be conducting these surgeries, with the aim to relieve the pressure on these patients and to also relieve their pain so that they can get back to working.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Somerville, on average, when you do this kind of engagement, about how many surgeries do you manage to get through in one day?
All right. So, in regards to, in its entirety, right, we typically try to get about 3 to 5 prostate biopsies done, and the numbers are similar across the board with all the other procedures. So, people biopsies would be around 5 again. Also the same when it comes to colposcopies, and in regards to the the breast biopsies, the number that we are working with this year, we only could get 4 candidates who were fit for surgery and fit the criteria also, and around the same number when it comes to the carpal tunnel releases.
Mm-hmm. And these surgeries are free?
Absolutely free. Of course, with the aid of our sponsors from the corporate companies within our community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so...
Well, let me...
Go ahead, Sanjay.
Let me just understand, Dr. Sterling. How do you select the patients who will receive surgery on Labor Day? Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So, we, as you know, we have our clinics that we run every week. So, we would have been screening these patients for a while now, and we would have identified them ahead of time. So, we have our clinic. Each department has a clinic they're looking at. We usually see around 60 to 100 patients per week in our clinics. So even though we have identified these individuals to biopsy on this particular Labor Day, there's still quite a few other patients that have to be biopsied. But these would have been the ones that we would have seen as being dire need or urgent. And as Dr. Somerville said, we're very grateful for our corporate sponsors because they have really helped to make these surgeries free for these patients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Somerville, when you make that call to a patient to say, you've been chosen, you're on this list, you're gonna get this free surgery, what's the reaction like?
Well, the thing is, in St. Anne specifically, in most rural areas in Jamaica, we're dealing with a lot of people who are facing a lot of financial challenges, right? The cost of a biopsy needle typically goes somewhere from 10 to 15. Sometimes the entire set might go above that price. And for a lot of us, we might look at this and say that it's not that much. But when you're thinking about a patient who has a family to feed, who likely is making, minimum wage, some of us not even making that much, right? They are really appreciative to save even the smallest amount that we would consider to be insignificant. So for them, they have been very appreciative of this endeavor.
Mm-hmm. And I want to give you the chance as well to highlight, if you will, and if you can, the sponsors, because this is a significant undertaking, and as you said, it wouldn't be possible without their support. So, who are some of the corporate entities lending a hand to this initiative?
All right. So we've been getting a lot of help from quite a lot of companies in our community, right? So we've been getting help from, of course, Apex Radiology, that's the radiology companies in our community, right? We're getting help from Island Radiology, Plantation Smokehouse, Draxall Medical and Surgical Group, Great House Pharmacy has been helping us also, Johnson & Wiggins and Associates, JNU Distributors, CNS, Service and Supplies, Bahia, TSO Supermarket, Square One Supermarket, Juicy Patties, Fontana Pharmacy, Gifts Galore, MK Fashion, and Gifts Bravo Supermarket also has been helping us. Sterling Properties, Restaurant, Hotel and Party Supplies, and also Progressive Supermarket has been helping us also.
So well supported.
That's quite a number. Yeah, it's well supported.
That's good.
Yeah.
But help me to understand now the logistical planning. It's a holiday. Individuals want to probably stay home or go somewhere else to labor. How do you go through that aspect of getting what is required on the day and the necessary individuals in place? Was it difficult to plan?
Planning, so the thing is, we have a really good team, right? And especially being healthcare workers working in the environment where we see a shortage of these, shortage of, for example, blood, of course, has played such a major role in our care for patients. It's a major limiting factor when it comes to the care for our patients because, again, with trauma patients, one trauma patient can get up to 10 units of blood in one night, right? And in many cases, the blood banks, not just specifically in St. Anne's Bay, island-wide, right, we're dealing with a shortage, right? And it shouldn't be the case where we have to sacrifice the care for the patient because it's something that should be readily available. Right, so we all are here and we are aware of how much this can actually make our lives a lot easier because having this helps us to help others, right? So I don't think people really see it, or rather our members really see it as such a task because at the end of the day, it will help us to help others. And at the end of the day, that is what we are here for as healthcare workers, to try to help others as much as possible and to the best of our abilities.
Right. And Dr. Sterling, what do you think are some of the factors that, probably makes people hesitant about donating blood?
Okay, so based on what we've been seeing over the years, as you know, the main factor is the fear of needles, right? And I can...
Boy, Dr. Sterling, not true, because I'm well afraid of them too. me have to lock my eye and look the other way.
Well, as somebody who's scared of needles, right, I can tell you that I donate every 3 months. So it's very much painless, right? As people would say, it's pretty much like a Portmore mosquito. Not a very... Yeah, man. I won't say it's a regular mosquito, about a Portmore mosquito. But once that needle goes in, and our technicians are excellent, they're well trained, they make you feel really comfortable. You feel like you're just liming with your friends under a tree. That's how comfortable it is. It's not a long procedure. You come in, you get your interview done. They test to make sure that your blood count is good enough. There's a simple test that we do to figure that out, to check your blood pressure. So I look at it as getting a free health test. You come in, so these are the things. You're going to come in, you're going to find out if your blood count is good, one. You're going to find out if you're hypertensive or not, because you're getting your blood pressure checked, right? And also, if you do pass that test and you go on to give the blood, your blood is actually sent for testing. So you get a free blood test at the same time. So there's a lot of benefits, and those aren't the only benefits to giving blood. The other benefits are it actually decreases the risk of stroke and heart attack. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, really?
Yes, it does. It also decreases your chance of getting cancer, giving blood regularly, right? And it also aids in weight loss.
Well, maybe I forgot to get some blood then. But let me ask you though, Doc. Seriously though, you said that it helps in reducing the risk of cancer. Could you talk a little bit more about that? Why that is?
Okay. So there have been recent studies that show that persons who regularly give blood are at a decreased risk of getting cancer. There isn't any definite reason to it.
Yeah.
There are some studies that are trying to identify the actual reasons, but that is one of the benefits of giving blood. In terms of the reducing your risk of heart attack and so forth, what it does is sometimes you can have large amounts of iron in the blood. And bloodletting actually helps to reduce. So yes, you can have low iron, but there's also such a thing as high amounts of iron.
Yes.
And bloodletting actually relieves this, so your chances of having heart attack and stroke is much decreased.
And the cholesterol level also.
And the cholesterol level.
Yes. And if I'm a listener, let me just follow up, please, Sanjay. If I'm a listener and I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna brave it. It's just a Portmore mosquito bite. I can do this. What do I need to do leading up to giving blood? Do I need to eat anything in particular? What do I need to do?
Yeah, man. So you have to have a good meal before you come in, because you're going to be losing a pint of blood. Of note, before I go any further, your body will replenish it very quickly. That's also another myth, that we're taking away your blood and you can't get it back. So your body is built to replenish your blood, right? So we encourage you to eat a large meal. You stay hydrated. So drink as much water as you can. And we also encourage that you avoid drinking alcohol, avoid smoking, before you come in to have your blood drawn. So those are the things that we usually encourage. After giving blood, we usually encourage that you don't engage in any strenuous activity right after giving the blood. So the day right after. So this is why Labor Day is so fit, because a lot of persons are going to be staying home and they're not working. So you can come in, give your blood, and you go back home and you rest. And you know that you just saved 3 lives, because 1 unit of blood actually can save 3 lives. So you'll have that good feeling in yourself, so you can sleep good that night.
And to segue from that, you are also making that appeal for individuals to within the St. Anne area, and I'm going to broaden it to Jamaica at large, to give blood. Talk to us about how individuals or where individuals can go to donate blood.
Okay. So the major hospitals all have blood banks, right? And they're open from Mondays to Fridays. And usually the time, well, I can speak for St. Anne's Bay Hospital, the time frame is looking around 8 to 2 o'clock, that will be willing to accommodate you. So anybody who is willing to give blood, not only tomorrow and Labor Day, anytime after, then feel free to visit your nearest hospital, go to your blood bank, and they will facilitate the bloodletting.
Yeah.
But, you know, Doc, I have a follow-up, Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
Jamaicans don't like to wait. You know that. How long is this process? You know, Jamaicans, if they're going anywhere, the only line probably they will wait long is a certain line in Kingston or Pope Road. Outside of that, they don't like waiting. So how long is the process?
It's a very seamless process. So the lab staff moves very quickly, especially tomorrow because we have so much volunteers. There will be people there today interview persons to do the bloodletting and persons to help with the recovery period. So overall, the average person who comes to give blood, the entire process you're looking at around 30 minutes. And that involves you resting after because you have to have a resting period for us to observe it just to make sure you're okay. So everything is well organized, everything moves smoothly. So it's not something that you have to come and wait the entire day for. And we get you in and out as quick as possible. You get your refreshment right after. And once you're observed and you're okay, we allow you to go home.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Somerville, I heard a little bit of it there from Dr. Sterling about the volunteers. I was going to ask, how well supported is it, the initiative, in terms of your colleagues at the hospital and just a larger volunteer pool? But I think I got some of it there from Dr. Sterling.
Yeah, so in regards to the volunteers, we already have a team of at least 50 people registered as volunteers to assist us. We have a team that we've been working with so far, right, in terms of, with the planning and organizing. And in terms of people signed up to assist us, we have about 50 people thereabout who will be assisting us. So we have quite a large number of people who will be there to help us to make the event run as smoothly as possible.
And in terms of surgeons, is it just yourself and Dr. Sterling, or
no, man. So there are surgeons from different teams. So general surgery, we would have Dr. Sterling and myself in operating theater helping with the biopsies, the breast biopsies, that is. However, there will be members of the urology team who would be sorting out the prostate biopsies, members from the OBS and gynae team who will be sorting out the colposcopies and the pupil sampling, and there will be members from the orthopedics team who would be sorting out the carpal tunnel releases. So it's quite a vast team.
And it seems like a very well organized day.
We hope that all our efforts haven't been futile. We don't want to plan this perfectly organized event, and we don't have the number, so we're asking for as many people as possible to come out, right? Because we're aiming for 150, but if we can get to 500 units, we will not complain.
I heard you mentioned the prostate, yes?
Yes.
Right, and I've long had discussions with doctors on this program and on this station about how important it is for men to come in and get the prostate tested. And, there's all kinds of myths about why they don't want to and what that procedure entails and the fears associated with it. I'm going to give you a chance, Dr. Somerville, to talk about what it entails in terms of getting the prostate checked and whether men in Jamaica should be afraid of it.
All right, so let's get a couple myths out of the way. I won't say to you that it's not an uncomfortable procedure, right? Because comfort is relative, right? What I consider to be comfortable and what another person considers to be discomfort, it's relative, right? What I can tell you, however, it is a very short procedure, right? Prostate test, or screening rather, entails 2 steps, right? There's the blood test, which is a PSA test, right? And then there's the digital rectal examination. We are aware that the digital rectal examination is what everybody is creating the fuss about, right? It is a procedure that doesn't last more than 10 to 15 seconds.
Oh.
Right? 10 to 15 seconds. Right? The moment you're on the bed, laying down, right, unclose you, the lower half of your body, the procedure is essentially finished already.
So by a blink it done?
By your blink it's done. Right? So it is, and it is being done by somebody who is trained to do it. Right? So we know exactly what we're searching for. So it won't take us a long time to find what we're searching for. Right? And really and truly, right, this is discomfort that is going to possibly prolong your life decades.
Yes.
Because catching prostate cancer early, right, can add on decades to your life. Because catching it early enough, right, there are numerous different methods of treatment of same that can actually prolong your life. Instead of sitting down, right, and allowing this thing to get to a more advanced stage where we can, in most cases, not be able to do anything at all about. Right?
And at what age should I start worrying and saying, okay, you know what, I need to go get a test done?
So the typical man, we would ask them, the moment you get into your 40s, 45 and above, we'd ask you to start your prostate screening. However, in the case where, you have a family history of same, right, then there's a possibility that we might ask you to come in to start screening a little bit earlier, right? But typically,
like age 40?
Right, up to about age 75, we would stop doing screening.
Yeah. All right.
So before we go, just give us a recap again, the event, the date, where, so that individuals can remember.
All right. So it is the St. Anne's Bay Labor Day event, right? It is going on, of course, at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital, right? We'll be doing colposcopies, people sampling. We'll be doing prostate biopsies, breast biopsies, carpal tunnel releases, and of course, the headline is the blood drive. Right, so help us to help you, right? Everybody, right, and this is something I'm really passionate about. Everybody nowadays wants to be an activist, right? Wants to speak out for something, right? How about we put our blood where our mouth is right now and come out and give blood, something that is actually needed, right? Something that you will see, because everybody has a relative who had come to the hospital at some point, right? So if that relative wasn't the one that needed blood, the person who was laying beside that person needed blood at some point, right? So if we want change, let's be the one to make the change, right? We're walking around with liquid gold, we're just asking to sponsor us a small amount of it.
All right. Put your blood where your mouth is, or your mouth where your blood is. Which one is it? Donate blood. That's a takeaway. Donate blood.
One final point
yes.
Dr. Somerville said. We just want it to be known that when you give blood, it is recorded, it is documented. You get what I like to call a little passport, where you have all, or a bank book actually, because you can withdraw from that, where all your blood is documented that you have given, and if you have a relative who needs the blood, you can actually draw from that bank account that you have there.
Oh, really?
And you never know. Yes, definitely. And there are occasions where we have patients who have come in and needed blood, and they are able to pull from their own bank to supply them. So not only are you helping others, you could be helping yourself in the future.
Dr. Lenworth Sterling is a medical officer in the Department of Surgery at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital, and Dr. Kadeem Somerville is also a medical officer in that department at the same hospital. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and all the best tomorrow with the initiative. I hope it goes really well. And well done. Well done.
Yes,
all right.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
We take a break, come back with more.
Suzuki, I give you deals on deals. So here's the deal. Purchase a Suzuki XL7 Jimny 5-door. Bronx or Grand Vitara from as low as $4.89 million. And enjoy huge savings of up to $500,000 off on select models. Plus 5 years warranty, free vehicle tracking, and 2 years free scheduled servicing. No, that's a deal. Offer valid at Stewart's Automotive Group, Southgate Road, Kingston, and Iron Trauma Bay. Stop by for a test drive. Follow Suzuki Jamaica for more details. Conditions apply. Suzuki, I give you deals on deals.
Whether you buy it, build it, or improve it, It's time to home it with the National Housing Trust. Join us as we follow the journey of one couple and their friends towards a more secure future for their families. Home It is brought to you by the NHT, the key to your home.
Akeem, carry out the goat for me now.
You're not serving it in here. You can't have cold goat at a housewarming, you know.
You're funny like. Put it on the trestle table with the other things. I can't believe it. We did it, babes! Our own home!
Just feel free. Free. Alright, here comes the goat people.
You just make me go shut my bedroom window. Me don't want no curry smell blow through there.
That's right, Radhika.
Her bedroom window? Is that she say? Look like Radhika forget that she's been a non-paying resident with us for the past how much year?
Breathe, babe. Breathe and repeat after me. It's only for a time. Akeem!
Wait, Genuine, are you that brother? With two empty hands? You not drink nothing?
Oh, okay. I'm good, man. Just feel a little way, you know. Like how the title for my land, that take a while.
Them can't just rush and give people titles so you know genuine. Them have to do investigations first.
Yeah, I know that. But sometimes it feel like mother just hold off on the whole LHT thing.
Hold on, what you say?
Genuine, why you think your grandfather make sure give you that land? Him want you have somewhere to live that is yours.
Brethren, you know have no security in rent house, you know. Tomorrow the owner can just come and give her X amount of months to come out.
Like my sister landlady.
It's what happened, Lee?
I just a roll in, brother.
Serving customers. I'm not done with the landlord business now. Why you out? Touch me now.
Cool, man, respect. Done. Finish.
Me and my landlord good, man. Somebody in a rush.
Hey, landlord, circumstances can change too, you know. And next thing you know, enforce video notice.
Genuine, my humble advice, just stick with the program. You soon get a title and after that, you're gone clear.
Me never believe that the whole NHC process would have go so easy, trust me. All these years me they are focused on NHC scheme and so much other tries there.
Lee, beg you choose one of the drink off of the tray for me please before me can't feel my hand.
Sorry man, me never see you. Thanks.
Look man, the way I see it, unless you have a big bag of money, the best way to get your home is through NHT. Cause the interest rate low.
And you know, them they tell me say, like how me a bill, but I have to pay back said time.
And then, if your pocket small, them have grants to help out too. Where you look for me for Akeem?
Oh, you know that? You finally are registered with NHT. Breaking news,
Akeem! You know what? All you know I do is chat. Shanice, beg you take a tray. It's a party this. Home here, Genuine. Let me see if you have any moves.
I hope you can keep up.
Boy, Akeem, congrats, yeah, man. And me give thanks to you for encourage me to deal with my sister. So we could have get the 3-way loan.
Respect and manners, bro. You good, my dupes. What? Genuine?
After this year dance, look like Genuine and Radhika going to be the next 2 co-applicants for NHT.
Build it, buy it, improve it. There are so many ways to home it with NHT. For more information on housing options, visit the NHT website or your nearest NHT office. Yes, you can home it with NHT and get the key to your home.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Good evening, good evening. We're switching gears now to the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League Finals. Finals night for the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League is set for Friday night at the National Stadium. The teams going head-to-head are Mount Pleasant and Cavalier. There will also be the third place clash between Montego Bay United and Arnett Gardens. We have with us Chairman of the Jamaica Premier League, Chris Williams. Good evening, Mr. Williams.
Good evening, good evening. But the correction there is it's the super final.
The super finals.
Yes.
All right.
Super final. That's the brand name
Gotcha.
that we concocted.
Super finals. And what can fans expect come Friday night?
Well, first and foremost, a wholesome, evening and night of non-stop entertainment. We kick off from about 3 o'clock. We start, the juggling, and then by 4, and we have the first game, which is the third place playoff between Arnett Gardens and Montego Bay United, and that's actually a very, very big game because the winner of that game gets an opportunity to qualify for the Caribbean Cup, and the Caribbean Cup is quickly becoming, the most iconic trophy in the Caribbean. So that the only one other team qualifies. It's important to finish third. So that's going to be a big, big clash. And then after that game, we break. We do more entertainment, giveaways, crowd interactions, performances, and then at 7 p.m. it all breaks loose with the big clash, the trilogy. This is the third year running. Cavalier tackles Mount Pleasant for the title of national champion of the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League. And at halftime, during that clash, we have a salute to Not Nice, which is, Not Nice Records is one of the, the most iconic record producers in Jamaica. And him and his friends will grace us with a number of his hits. So that takes place at halftime, during the finals, during the super finals. And then, we conclude and we crown our national champion.
Talk to us a little bit about what Ray and Nephew's continued sponsorship has meant to the league and Jamaican football more broadly.
Boy, I was saying to someone tonight that, these guys deserve a national award. The contribution, is not just cash. They also bring a level of professionalism, attention to detail, creativity that goes, way beyond the cash. And that's extremely important because that's what gives the event that little buzz that we all feel. It's how they market, how they execute the stadium, how they make the fans feel. It's amazing. Just having had the opportunity to work closely with them over the last 2 years. I was saying to a friend of mine tonight that these guys know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and so, and then of course, it all results in a much better football ecosystem, and that has tremendous social as well as economic implications for us as a nation. So, boy, I don't know. You guys can lobby for them. We need to sign up Ray and Nephew for some sort of national award.
Oh, very well. I want to go back to something that you said at the start. You corrected us to say it is the super finals. Why this designation, and what is going to be different? Why you have dubbed it the super finals?
Yeah, so we did that. This is the second year that we've dubbed it the super final. And what we found going into this period is that the fans were very team specific, and the challenge with that is if you don't get the top two teams ending up in the final, then it doesn't get that same level of buzz and energy. So we had a session, a creative session, and we said, we needed to make sure the finals took precedence as opposed to who is going up against who in the finals. And so what we said, all right, let's market the finals as a bit of a festival, a family day. You come out and it's 4 or 5 hours of entertainment and laughs and dancing and of course football. So that's what ourselves and the Ray and Every team have been zoned in on for the last few years, making the super final a bit of a football festival that people will come out to, despite if their team is not in the final. And we it's gotten a lot of traction.
Yes, and I like how you're incorporating not just the football lover, but the wider family to be part of the finals, which is an excellent idea. So this is an excellent way to this question then. Why should Jamaicans rally behind the JPL and continue to support local football?
Yeah, man, I love that question. I love that question. So when I was asked, this is actually my 5th season. I was asked in 2020 during COVID, and when I look back at it, I was like, I must have been crazy to taking on this chairmanship at that time. But the reason I did it is I had done some introspection, and I was like, why are we so amazing at track and field? And not just I use track and field. I don't want to say track because, as we're also winning on the field now. Yes. And I concluded that it was our local ecosystem between the competition, between the camaraderie, between the coaching, it is that ecosystem that breeds champions in track and the field. So some people will say, we were born in track, and you may get away with that. But what are you going to say about field? Because now, we're winning, shot put and discus and so on, both male and female. We're winning long jump, etc. So clearly it's wider than just our natural talent. There is some amount of ecosystem that is at work. So when I dug into that now, I said, you know what? The ecosystem appears to be the local energy around the sport. That kids from basic school want to, do well in track and field. And so we said, all right, football, we can achieve that as well. No, they must have a carrot, right? The carrot in track and field is boys champs, boys and girls champs. We need to establish a carrot that they are locked in on and they want to do well at. Nobody, at JC, or at KC or Calvary, they're not going out for the track team to win the 100 meter at the Olympic Games. They're going out for the track team because they want to represent them school at champs, right? And then when they do well there, somebody says to them, you could actually go on further and do well, in the 100 meter at the Olympics. And then they set that as an additional goal. But the kids are really just zoned in on dominating locally at champs. So we said, all right, let's set up our own champs version of champs for football. And that is the Jamaica Premier League. We want the kids to want to score the winning goal and lift the trophy for their community in the Jamaica Premier League.
Yeah.
And so that,
which is
what-
important. Yeah.
which is that ecosystem that drives that ecosystem. So they're not going about saying that they want to play for Man U. But if they do well, then yes, they will also go on to play for Man U. But we must set the carrot locally, and that beautiful carrot is lifting the Renevue Trophy at the National Stadium, scoring the winning goal. Crowd goes wild. They go back to their community. Everybody's at the house, knocking on them gates, saying, "Yo, you're the greatest." So that's what that's what that's what drove me to it, and that's what I think we are passionate about. We want to create that lasting memory for these kids, and I'm saying it will result in us doing well nationally. But the goal is to just let the Jamaica Premier League be the thing that you tell your grandchildren. Yo, I played for Boys Town, or I played for Arnett, and at the stadium we'll win. We're setting that big audacious goal for the kids, and so that and I think we're getting there. I think we're getting it. The last few seasons, when they score a goal, they run into the stands and them jump. The whole bench clears. Everybody's on the field, jumping on top of them. So yeah, man, that just warms my heart when I see them leave the field and run down the goal scorer, and jump all over him and knock him in the head. That just shows that this is like the greatest moment in their lives. And that's what we want. That's all we want. We don't want to win the World Cup. We don't want to do it. We just want the Jamaica Premier League to be like champs. People just go to the super final, have a good time, cheer, make noise, jump up and down, and just give thanks for being Jamaican.
Where can fans get tickets for the super finals?
So caribtix.com for the online, and JFS office is going to be open tomorrow, so you can go down to JFS office and pick up tickets before you head to the stadium. But we will have the ticket booth open by 1 p.m. Tomorrow at the National Stadium. So we have a few options, and then you can always log on to our Instagram page, Jamaica Premier League, and get additional details and information.
All right. Chris Williams there, chairman of the Jamaica Premier League. Appreciate your time. All the best.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Not a problem.
Look forward to seeing all of Jamaica tomorrow at the National Stadium. Thank you.
All right. Chris Williams there.
All the best.
We're going to take a break.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
I think it is important to reinforce for the nation that this massive reduction in poverty, in the prevalence and measurement of poverty, is a big deal for all Jamaicans. There are those who would want to make light of it. But I would quickly remind that were the data pointing in the other direction, much heavy weather would have been made of it. You wouldn't stop hearing all the negatives. So it is important that we accentuate this positive news. There is always the issue of reconciling these statistics with the lived experience of Jamaicans. The tool that we use to measure poverty has not changed much. It is a standard tool. We have sought to ensure that our tool that we use to measure is aligned with international standards. And indeed, the methodology that we use is robust, well tested, and aligns very well with global standards. So there can be no naysaying or criticizing the results. The results are what they are. They are robustly tested, and you can have great credibility and confidence in the results. For us, for the government that is, we were always expecting that poverty would be reduced significantly, because we have implemented what I would like to describe as instrumental policies, meaning policies that are directly crafted to treat with the specific elements of poverty. The academic perspective on poverty is that poverty has several dimensions to it. You look at the income of the person, the ability of the person to earn and consume. You look at the person's access to knowledge and information, so you're looking at their education levels and how they use that knowledge to innovate and create their economic abilities determined by that. And then you would want to also look at the person's access to amenities, access to healthcare, proper roads, things like of that nature. There are other elements, of course. You want to look at marginalization, whether or not people are actually included, this issue of inclusion in the society. Those are all metrics and measurements of poverty. And we were very focused on looking at all these dimensions. And in every single dimension, the metrics that would be used to measure, Jamaica has made substantial progress. Now, how do you reconcile these statistics with the lived experience? There are always persons who will say, well, my condition is not better off. I go to the supermarket and my prices continue to rise. Well, you know, I listen to the radio and I hear people say, I don't have water in my pipe. There are still potholes in the road. I wait long when I have to go to the health center. So how is this? How does this make sense? Well, let's step back for a little bit. Minister Charles would have gone through the details about, for example, the minimum wage. And let's look at it from a practical point of view. In 2021, if you were to give the annualized minimum wage, someone would be earning about $468,000 at the minimum wage at that point in time. The poverty line then, which was assessed at the minimum level of consumption, or if you want to flip that, the minimum level of income that someone should be earning, would be about $224,000, thereabout. So someone would be considered absolutely poor if they were earning just below, at or below, $224,000 yearly. So those are the persons who would be considered absolutely poor. But consider what this administration has done, which was instrumental, direct, deliberate. We increased the minimum wage by about 44%. And the minimum wage in 2023, if annualized, would be somewhere around the region of about $677,000, thereabouts. And a person would be considered absolutely poor in 2023 if they were earning at or below $270,000, thereabout. So you can see that the government took a deliberate decision to increase the minimum wage, meaning the earning capacity of the lowest wage earners in the society. So that would have increased their income and their ability to consume. And this increase was above inflation. So you would generally be better off. You'd have more income. But let's not stop at the minimum wage. The government increased the public sector salaries and wage bills significantly, the highest increase that has ever gone on in the history of Jamaica. Significantly. Now, I know there are issues, there are still issues with various sector groups trying to resolve, but you can't naysay that. You can't deny that there has been a substantial increase in the public sector wage bill. Significant. And that would have introduced to households more income. But put those two aside. Say those weren't significant. What is significant, however, is the reduction in unemployment. So households that didn't have persons employed now have employed members of their household. So the household income, by virtue of that, would have also increased. Now, let's be clear. We are not here saying that we are satisfied with the wage level. No one can argue that everybody wants more pay. But yes, we're working towards that. But if you weren't working before and now you're working, you have more income. And so that has had a massive impact on the absolute poor in Jamaica. So this issue, which I've heard being said that our government focuses on trickle-down economics, meaning that we only focus on making businesses work and focusing on the high-level macro stuff. That's absolute rubbish. There could be no greater lie told on government policy than that. This administration has been the most focused on treating with the microeconomic elements of poverty, dealing with the social safety net, putting in place things like the social pension, which didn't exist before. We are now looking at unemployment insurance, didn't exist before, giving access to training in heart and all the programs that we have put in that would have enabled households to access employment. All of these are deliberate strategies, not giveaways, not wishful and fancy things to just spend, but things that make you able to earn from your labor and your talent. So we have been very instrumental, and I think that has been a critical part of the success of our program in alleviating and addressing poverty. So what it means is that there are less persons in Jamaica that could be considered absolutely poor. What is the objective now? What's the next step of the government? The next step of the government is to end absolute poverty in Jamaica. This is something that I have said before, and it is the intention. At 8%, we are within striking distance of that. We can end absolute poverty. But of course, once you reach to that point, you're going to set a different threshold, a much higher threshold. So you're in a different level now. And that's the idea. So we want to ensure that we push this poverty prevalence number way down. And then at that point, we can revise what's the new threshold for somebody to be considered living at or below the poverty line. So it's quite doable. It is within our capabilities to do it, but we must continue with the strategic policies. We must continue the training of our young people so that they can continue to work and earn from their labor and talent. We must continue to improve the social services, the access to amenities, and we must continue to ensure that our marginalized population is protected by a very effective social safety net. And in that regard, the Minister of Labour and Social Security has been tasked, and he gives us updates pretty regularly about how we're going to revise the PATH program. I get too many complaints of persons who believe that they should be on the program and are not on the program, and from those persons complaining that there are persons on the program who they know should not be on the program. So really, there has to be a review, and I know that the review is ongoing, but the efficiency of the program is also an issue as well, how people get their benefits and how timely those benefits are. So we are digitizing that process. The minister, I'm certain, will come with a further update. But we're also looking at ensuring the inclusion element for those persons who are marginalized and in vulnerable situations where they are not able in and of themselves to access these benefits. And there are many Jamaicans like that. They may be in rural areas, they may be in some inner city communities, and they are of the notion that if they present themselves to the state, they are going to be rejected, or they are going to be subject to something that might demean them. And that is absolutely not true. So what we're going to be doing is very shortly rolling out the Solidarity Program. And the Solidarity Program is designed to treat with those persons who have not gotten any of the social benefits. They are not on the social pension. They are not registered on any of the programs of PATH. They are not in HEART. So we're going to find them, and they will get their cash grant, and we will assist them in bringing them into the formal system. And that will have another major impact on addressing poverty by dealing with the exclusion element. In other words, including all the people in the population who we have not yet reached. So I just thought I'd come and share this perspective with you. Thanks for listening. God bless you, and remember to always choose Jamaica.
Brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Who will climb Europe's football Everest? Will it be Inter Milan?
Good ball from Di Marco. Dumfries and Lautaro Martinez!
Or will it be Paris Saint-Germain?
Dembele has other ideas. What a chance! What a goal!
On Saturday, May 31, the two heavy hitters of the European game will clash at the Allianz Arena in Germany in the European Champions League final.
Artist lost that one. Here's Hakimi!
Nationwide 90 FM will be at the center of it all as we take you to Bavaria for live coverage of this titanic showdown.
Tudor neatly controlled. Dumfries, first time! Francesco Acerbi! Acerbi, the hero!
Join the Nationwide team at Carib 5 in Crossroads as we build up to the game starting at 1:30 p.m. Live coverage of the European Champions League final on Nationwide 90 FM Saturday, May 31 is brought to you courtesy of the Amber Group. The Amber Group, pioneering innovation. Any bet, your best bet. And ATL Automotive, keeping Jamaica moving. The game can also be seen live at Carib 5.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
We're taking your calls now, 630-9371-4, 618-8255. Those are the numbers to call. Tell us what's in your mind. All that's been in the news, particularly when I hear you on the reduction in the poverty rate. Very good news, and news that I think all Jamaicans should be celebrating. Yeah. So give us a call. Yeah. Sanjay, you see this story out of the United States, President Trump's administration barring Harvard from accepting international students, and the international students who are already there. It seems that they're going to have to now either transfer to other universities or leave the country.
Yeah. I'm just looking at that story, Ricardo, and one thing I can say, wild.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It is, and for me, I'm thinking, a university, a private university, university should have academic independence. I don't know. It seems to me to be executive overreach. But it'll be interesting if however challenges it in court, what will be the results. But very strange development. But again, that's what the American people voted for, eh? So, democracy. 630-9371-4, 618-8255. Those are the numbers to call. We're taking your calls. Papa Nana, you're up first.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you both.
How are you?
Good evening.
Well, to be honest to you, I'm trying to survive, and from I hear the both of your voice, I know there is hope, you know?
Sorry, say that again, Papa Nana.
I said I am trying to survive, but more so from I hear both of your voice, there is hope.
Papa Nana, you're always kind. Appreciate that, Papa Nana.
Yes. Listen, along the line, I want you to help me out because I'm not that witty. I must congratulate the government on the reduction in poverty.
Yes.
But you know what I have noticed?
What's that?
It seems to me as if it's easier to control the people who cannot read and write to go your way, whether the things is right or it is wrong, more than when the people is educated. And what I have noticed, it seems to me like that is the reason why you see the PNP try their best to ghettoize most of the place that they can do. Ghettoize it, that they can manipulate the person. Because when people can read and write, it look to me like they are easier led. You understand? Because, for instance, now, I was talking to somebody about the reduction of poverty.
Yes.
And the person is telling me that when the PNP was in power, they did not have to work to collect our money because the PNP would look about them and think.
Oh? Somebody said that?
Yes, man. I'm telling you. When a man tell you, say, you know, for work, he will catch a fish and cook it deal. What you think he mean by?
He holds you down, he holds you in place, he makes you dependent.
Right. And he makes you believe that he's so important because you are dependent on him for survival.
Yes. There's a term Papa Nana they call it the daycare state, the nanny state, where you expect the state to take care of you and baby you. And I think, Papa Nana, you're onto something that for a long time, a lot of our population, you know, they've been held back out of ignorance. And I don't blame them. They have not been exposed, perhaps, but you're onto something. I think you are onto something.
Yeah. And if I could just add to that.
The maintenance, just one more point, the maintenance of garrison communities. Yes, Papa Nana, you're right. That feeds into it. It does.
Yeah. We created a dependency syndrome from a very long time within the politics, and you see it with the garrisons and just how we hold back the process of development. Is a trickle-down method where we think and politicians give Jamaicans this impression that you need them and they are the controller of certain things.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have seen now that it has changed. It has changed. Yeah, to a large extent. You still have pockets of it in various communities, but it's not as bad as we saw it in the 70s and the 80s.
Well, that is true, but I am sorry for the Prime Minister. I am really sorry for him. He had to try. Another thing that I don't hear, well, he had to try and educate the people to make them know that if a man promise you something, try and don't depend on him. Go and look for it for yourself. Good God, man. And look at it now. The poverty rate has gone down. And imagine not a comment from the Gleaner. We didn't hear anything. Somebody called me from England and said to call to Mr. Hughes and find out what is what.
Yeah.
The Gleaner did not see it fit.
I heard Cliff this morning, and I did find it strange, Papa Nana. And I've been trying to call, as you remind me, I need to call back. I was calling my colleagues there, my friends there, to kind of find out what happened. Because something must have happened. It strikes me as very odd. That would be.
I'm seeing a report online.
Online, yes, but it's
today,
not in the
yes.
print. It's not in the print version of the paper at all.
Mhm.
And you know, fine, if you don't put it on the front page, it's not even buried on page 5. It's just not there at all. And that did strike me as odd. And even so, it came online today, like well into the morning, mid-morning. So it didn't come yesterday afternoon online or last night.
About 10 a.m.
Right. So something must have happened. So I said I was going to call back my friend there and see.
Well, I know other people want a chance, but let me tell you, it's because Nationwide chop the bush from around them. Why you hear they come out with that Nationwide talk about it, and that is why
I don't know, Papa, that if that is true.
I'm telling you, sir.
Yes.
It's because Nationwide chop the bush from around them, and let me see what is taking place. I think, let me give somebody else a chance.
All right, Papa Nana.
It is a national disgrace.
It's certainly very strange. I
am
agree.
telling you, sir.
All right, have a good one, Papa Nana.
Sir, God bless you.
Yes, man, you too. Faithful.
All the best.
Good evening, Carlo. Good evening, Sanjay.
How are you?
Good evening.
Believe me, I'm very fine, thank you. Okay, stop there. It was this year budget. Mr. Julian Robinson and Mr. Mark Golding was speaking to. Was it poverty when he said you are the United Nations, one of those companies, one of those NGO?
Yes.
See Jamaica poverty rate.
Yes, I vaguely remember that. Yes, I don't quite remember if it was the budget, but I do recall it being raised. Yes.
It on the budget.
Budget. Okay.
Both budget and a press meeting that they have.
Okay. Yes, I remember it being raised though. Yes.
Right. 55%, you know. And I was trying to wonder within myself, where did they get that from? That's one. Two. And if it is true, and it did not come from Jamaica, how should we read into it? Should we take what the PIOJ says serious, or should it just?
I don't quite recall if that UN report was about the poverty rate. I think it was about food insecurity. I think it might have been about food insecurity, and I don't want to misspeak, but I think it was over a period of time, and I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember the specifics, but I think it was about food security. But yeah. Oh yes, Little Miss R is reminding that yes, it was food security.
It was food. It was not poverty.
Food insecurity. I think that's what it was about. Yes, about access to food. I'll have to check. I'll double check for you. But
because I did find that very curious then. And
yes, I think it was about food insecurity, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it is, Ricardo. I just found the article.
Okay, yeah, it's in food. It's food insecurity. Yeah.
But what I find strange now with it was 16.7% and come on to 8.2. And as you try to twist it to say it's not the real figure because person who are feeling are not experience it. So it doesn't matter what happened. People gonna find a way to twist it, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. And I saw a tweet from Dr. Damien King, and he was saying that, you know, based on these numbers, that argument should be put to rest about people not feeling it. Because when you couple, he says, a drop in the unemployment rate with a slashing of the poverty rate, then it clearly must mean.
Yeah.
It
must mean something.
Yeah, it must mean that people are feeling it. Yeah. That was his argument. Yeah.
Again, as I don't need to repeat what Papa Nana said, but I'm a person that follow news, not only nationwide, I follow news all over. And what Cliff has said this morning about different entities, not only Gleaner, but even on the radio station too. I have to say, when I listen to the news afterward, I was after to myself, boy, Cliff has a very powerful voice. Because I see a slight reporting of the news when he made a statement, not only in press but on. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, Faithful.
All right, Faithful.
Willow.
Good night, Ricardo.
Good night. Sanjay is with me.
Sanjay.
All right, Willow.
Good night, Sanjay.
Good night.
Maybe the first one calling time, Sanjay, and the program.
Yeah, yes.
All right.
Yeah, man. I want to tell you this morning, I look through the paper because me a man, I love look through the paper and see what the press bringing out, and I love switch because when I listen nationwide at 6 o'clock news, I don't listen nationwide news at 7, I listen to another news at 7. And let me tell you the truth. I don't feel pleased, Sanjay and Ricardo. Because I think the press should be on this. Poverty at the lowest. And it's only nationwide. Bring it out.
The Observer did too.
Yeah, the Observer bring it out. Yeah. And when Cliff come on in program 10 o'clock, and it's when Cliff highlight it, almost a half an hour after that, or something to 11,
well,
Cliff start to say that.
So I tell you something. I checked, and it was posted to their website at a minute after 10. Yes.
Yes.
1 minute after 10, it was posted to their website, but posting it to their social media was delayed. But it was posted to their website a minute after 10 this morning.
But Sanjay Ricardo, that was from yesterday.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not making an excuse. It is strange. I'm agreeing with you that it is strange. Yes.
So, well, I don't know. And as I said to somebody today in the car, I said, I don't know what this man going to do to make the people love him, because the amount of lie with them telling him. I don't know what he's going to do again, because all you hear him have 28 bank accounts. And I said to somebody in the car, if a man has 28 bank accounts and him around the country, so, and the man who don't have 28 bank accounts can't run the country.
Can I tell you something, Willow? Can I tell you something, Willow? You see,
yeah.
I'll never forget. I tell you something. I'll never forget it. In 2017, Kellyanne Conway, she was a then advisor to Donald Trump, who was president, and of course, his election victory was the shock of the world at the time. Nobody expected that he was going to beat Hillary Clinton, and he did. And I remember I was watching Kellyanne Conway. In my estimation, she's one of the best political operatives in the United States. And she was doing an interview. And you know what she said? She said, voters care more about what affects them rather than what offends them. And I thought about it. And I said, that make a lot of sense, What she was saying at the time is you can continue to waste your time attacking Donald Trump, the person, because you don't like him, because you're bad mind, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's going to deliver what he promised, and the voters will remember that more than anything else.
It's true.
And we have seen it.
Yes.
And we have seen it. Yeah.
Yes. And I say that to say here, I don't know what is going to happen. But if I were a betting person, I would say it's not a good strategy to constantly focus on the person. After a while, people are going to see behind that. What has that person, if anything, delivered for me?
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Yeah, and I thought she made a lot of sense.
I'm going to tell you because I'm going to close now. I'm pleased. I'm pleased because at my age, 61 going 62, I'm past to many prime minister because I was a deep person of the PMP. Deep person. You couldn't get me wrong with the PMP.
Yes.
But when I look at in the 90s, I said, no, something wrong. And from that, I looked at other country and I said, the more people work in your country, the more tax you collect, is the better it is for your country.
Yeah.
And I see Andrew Holness come and try to demonstrate that. You can't take less people at work and you take less people money and I give to people who not work. how you going to get it back?
You know, Willow, I just want to add something. One of the problems that we have in this country, and it's something that we discussed last week, is how we're going to get those uncommitted voters to actually come out and vote, right? And for a very long time, people have been disenchanted, not interested in the system, because the promises that the politicians would make at the start of the election cycle, they don't deliver. The die-hard supporters, they're not going to switch for the most part. 1 or 2 will cross the floor. But for the most part, they won't switch. So the focus has to be on those uncommitted voters, how you're tackling their issues and how you can get them to come out and vote for your party.
Yeah.
That's a challenge, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think you said something that if the governing party now listening, they need to attack it, and if the one in opposition listening, they need to attack it, and they need to come with better option, because let me tell you, we can't go back to the 90s. We need to look forward now. So we want Jamaica to move to a first world country, top of the Caribbean. I don't know, because let me tell you, me I look at future for my grandchildren them, because my children them done making no. So me I look at future for the grandchildren them, and with that appear down. I feel pleased with that.
Yes.
I feel pleased with that. And if we can create more jobs, yes, that is it. We want to create more jobs, more people working in the country. The country will be far better. And you see, what we have done in St. Thomas, we need to get that into more of the poverty-driven country. Like
I'm
Portland,
actually, and I'm
St.
advocating
Mary.
for Hanover.
Yeah,
Yes, me advocate for Hanover. Yes. No, because thanks, Willow. You know, it's true in Sanjay, because before they used to say St. Thomas was a forgotten parish. Hanover, no. Hanover.
Again. Yeah.
But
all right, Willow.
It shows in Ricardo how development.
One final thing before I go. Remember, the PMP tried to break down same place there 2 times, billions of dollars.
Yes, I heard George doing a recap of the history.
No, I'm a history man, and I can go back to it,
All right, Willow. I want to give Errol a chance before we run out of time. Thanks, Willow.
All right. Yeah, man.
Errol?
Ricardo.
Hold on, Errol. Yes, Sanjay.
You remember who they used to call the pipeline minister under the PNP administration?
Pipeline minister, who that?
That's your homework.
Errol? Errol? Oh no, I lost Errol? Errol? Oh no, sorry about that, Errol. No, come tell me now, who was pipeline minister? Who that?
Paul Robertson. Because he was part of under the office of the Prime Minister during PJ Patterson time, and he was known to talk about what is in the pipeline. We can never see come to fruition, so they call him the pipeline minister. I'm sure some of our listeners will remember that.
Errol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ricardo.
Let's talk on.
When we are saying, man, all the media bias,
What we do?
No.
Also. What we do?
No. The Gleaner and the RGR, and then they bring out the property we're gone down.
The poverty.
The poverty we're gone down, then they bring it out. I just alone we here with it.
No, man, the Observer had it too, man. The Observer had it, and I think I hear people saying Loop. That Loop also carried it.
But when Dr. Daza tell lies, jail by for this and that, you see it in a Gleaner, you hear it for every station.
Lord God, Errol.
Why a thing, man? And
Jesus.
Another thing, man. The man in this are going to tell lie. You see what I'm saying? 2 people over sue him, You get to me answer, Ricardo.
I hear you, Errol.
But when me want to ask, when the Blood Dog powder come out?
Start on Monday, the 26th.
Monday the 26th.
Yes, next week, Monday.
Then better belt up feet.
You know where in the poll. You belt up feet? You belt up feet? Somebody has to say something else where you don't want to hear.
No, things in the week are that phone not tell lie. We don't buy more phone.
Well, okay, we'll see.
We time feet.
We'll see. All right, Terrell.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Dana Davies giving me the wrap-up signal. Yes, the Blue Dot polls will start at 6 a.m. on Monday. And, of course, you know how we do it. We run through the entire week with all the findings, and then we'll culminate with the party standings. Yeah, and that it could be the final poll before. Could be. We'll see. Dana Davy with our Anpanar Kimbo and our face makeup. We put in place one new rule, Sanjay, and me write her the email, you know, and she over there, I'll eat up herself behind the glass, watch her. How you have planned to go? You go somewhere. That's a dress up. You go, oh, okay, now work tomorrow. Oh, you want to come out, you ready? All right. Dana Davy, Damian Cunningham, her colleagues in the newsroom, our sponsors, contributors, and your valued listeners. Thank you all so much. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a productive evening.
Good evening.
What's the standing of the JLP and the